Welcome everyone. My name is Yi and I'm your host for Occupational Medicine Pearls podcast. Today we will be talking about acrylonitrile. It is one of the 17 chemical hazards that require workplace monitoring with the Safe Work Australia legislation. Acrylonitrile is a chemical that pops up more often in industry than most of us realize. If you ever wonder what goes into acrylic fibers, certain plastics, or nitrile rubber, this is one of the key ingredients. Acrylonitrile is a clear, colorless, and highly flammable liquid. Think of that as a viscous alcohol hand gel, only more dangerous. People often describe the smell as mild but not pleasant. Chemically, it is a vinyl group attached to a nitrile, which is why you might also hear it called vinyl cyanide. From occupational exposure point of view, it is produced and used during the production of polymer and plastics manufacturing or acrylic fiber production, especially during the steps where solvents are removed or nitrile rubber production. Outside of these steps, it is not very common to encounter this dangerous chemical. And interestingly, there are a few non-occupational sources as well. It has been used as historically as a fumigant, so older buildings may have residual contamination. It is also present in cigarette smoke, and tiny amounts can migrate from certain food containers into food, especially if you're microwaving. The mechanism of action or the exposure pathway is through inhalation of fumes, vapors during the chemical process, or prolonged contact with the liquid, and that can get into our human body. If we are looking at the workplace exposure standard, it is set at 2 ppm or 4.3 milligram per cubic meter. And here is important nuance. Acrylonitrile is readily absorbed through the skin, so even if your air monitoring sampling shows that it looks fine, your worker may still getting a meaningful dose if they are not handful with hand contact. Unfortunately, we don't have a specific biological marker or metabolites that help us quantify the exposure. So it doesn't really help us, isn't it? Well, if we are looking at placement medical or assessing someone before the exposure, we followed our usual routine protocols, which is explaining the chemical in the question here, and also what symptoms to look out for, and what are the control measures. So we need to explain these steps to the worker. And when we are asking about history, we need to check about any symptoms relevant to central nervous system and peripheral nervous system or skin issues. The acrylonitrile can cause sensitization and dermatitis, so if any previous history of allergic exposure need to be considered. On the examination, we are looking at the full neurological system examination. We're going to focus on any respiratory problems such as wheezing or any signs of dermatitis or sensitization. If we are looking into what type of health effects, so acrylonitrile behave like a cellular asphyxiant, similar to cyanide, so symptoms can come out quickly and affect the central nervous system. And you might see when someone got exposed to it through vapor and fumes, eye and nose and throat irritation, sneezing, feeling sick and vomiting. And because of that, headache, dizziness, also could experience collapse or convulsion. And in severe cases, it can cause asphyxia or death on the right away. Remember, skin exposure can also lead to systemic toxicity, not just inhalation. If there is ongoing low-level exposure and workers may display similar symptoms but milder, so things like headache, irritability, and insomnia can happen. and there is respiratory difficulties, it will be very much indistinguishable from hay fever, really. There could also be abnormal liver functions as well. If there is a repeated skin contact in the exposed area, that can develop contact dermatitis. Unfortunately, acrylonitrile is class category 1B carcinogen, and with the epidemiology studies, it is shown to be associated with cancers of lung, gastrointestinal tract, and prostate, although there is no direct study assigning as a causative agent. This is all we have for this episode today. If I have to recap, acrylonitrile is a niche chemical that is used in acrylic fiber production, and outside of that, it is quite difficult to get exposure to this dangerous chemical. Symptoms are mostly irritant and sensitization, and if it doesn't kill someone right away, it may cause prolonged effects in the nervous system. I hope this short video or podcast is useful to you, and I'll move on to the next one in the next episode. Bye.